Here we go, guys. We're going to talk about something that seems like it's such a taboo. I don't know why I can't find anything on it. You probably can't find anything on it. Today's episode is all about kickboxing purses and pay. I don't know what's up with this subject. I've looked online. Before I turned pro, I tried to find out if I did well how much money I could make. It was almost impossible to find anything about kickboxing pay, and if I did, it was usually about the K1 tournaments, those crazy 8-man tournaments they used to have. I could find out how much those guys made. And even if you found what the winner got for that tournament, try to find something about second place purses, third place. Not gonna happen. And I definitely never ever saw anything on the guys who competed in the quarterfinals but didn't go any further. What was their show purse? And why not? We always have a new generation of fighters coming up, and my thought is, oh, don't they deserve to have some idea what they might be getting paid and whether this is a career they want to pursue based on that amount of money they're going to be making? Now, per my contract at the moment with Bellator and in the past with Glory, I know I'm not allowed to talk about the actual show purses that I was getting or am getting. Even though I can't talk about my fight purse, it is okay for me to show you guys this check that I got for my first fight with Glory. Actually, my first 2 fights because I fought twice in one night. Because I got presented this check after the fight, I know it's okay for you guys to see that I made $20,000 for that event. I also know it's okay for me to tell you that second place got $50,000 and the guy who won the tournament got $100,000. Now, this was the last 8-man featherweight tournament that Glory ever did, and with that the pay went no more $50,000 per night, definitely no more $100,000 per night. I want the up-and-coming kickboxers to understand you have to love this sport in there. You are not doing this sport to become a millionaire. I can think of 3 fighters off the top of my head who have maybe made $1 million off fighting in the ring. Aside from that, everybody's getting paid much, much less. If you look at boxing and you look at their stars, their pay-per-view stars, making millions and millions of dollars. And then a little below them, UFC stars, who are pay-per-view as well, who are making millions, a little bit less, but still millions of dollars a year. And then you look at the, let's say, UFC sort of entry to mid-tier fighters. And then the kickboxers, the high-level kickboxers, are going to be a little bit below them. So I just think it's super fair for these up-and-coming fighters to understand if you want to be a millionaire, this is not the sport for you. I've actually been talking with my brother over the last couple months, and he's a boxer, amateur boxer, and we're looking at sort of the paths he can take if he decides he wants to try and make a career out of this. And realistically, the likelihood of becoming a Olympian and actually medaling is so small, the competition is so high, and even if you accomplish that, which is just amazing, you have to look at the end of the day at the rewards, and the rewards for an accomplishment of that degree are just not enough. You're not going to be guaranteed any major sponsorship, you're not going to be getting paid for that. The government might give you a little bit of financial support, but we're talking minimal, I don't even know, $10,000, $20,000 throughout the year to help with your training costs, if that, in Canada. So it's easy for me to look at these different routes for him and say, okay, if you're in this to actually get some financial reward and some recognition, as well as love the sport, MMA might be the easier route for you, because to get into the UFC, if you're successful, you can have 5 or 6 really good fights. You need to beat some high-level opponents in there, but you can get into the UFC with 5 or 6 fights. Whereas for boxing, you'd have to go and medal, and after that, try to sign with a promoter, and then start making some good money, but still climb through the ranks and still get 10, 12-0 before you'd be getting good purses. And I definitely wouldn't recommend him to go to kickboxing, especially for him because he's got such strong hands and he could capitalize in boxing or in MMA with those tiny gloves on. He might as well go one of the routes, which is going to pay more money if you're successful. Really what it comes down to is we are so fortunate, the few guys within kickboxing who are successful enough to actually make a career out of this. We are so lucky to be able to do something, to pursue something that's our passion and make it our livelihood. But we are still working just as hard as those MMA fighters, those boxers, and it would be great to be able to make as much as them. But if you love this sport and you're committed to following that path of being a pro kickboxer and trying to win a title, I would recommend trying to find one of the smartest routes to the top. And for me, that would involve avoiding the local cards if you can. I remember when I first started my first fight, I got $500. This is my first pro fight. Second pro fight, $500. After about 5 or 6 fights, I think I was making $1,000 or $2,000. I didn't actually get a bump in pay until I got my first fight, my big break in K1. Then my purse went, and then it just kind of hung there until I won the Glory title, and then it did another bounce. And then one of the big reasons I signed with Bellator, aside from just wanting to be involved with a promotion of that magnitude, was the pay that they were offering. I'm so grateful to Bellator because they've given me a contract that makes me one of the most successful fighters in kickboxing, and that is amazing. All right, guys, thanks for joining today. I hope I managed to shine a little bit of a light on kickboxing pay, help you understand sort of where we are in the combat sports world. If this is a sport you love and you want to compete no matter what, go for it. But just understand that you're not going to be making millions of dollars. And before I go, I should mention weight class does make a difference. The lighter guys make less than the heavyweights, and it's just unfortunate that that's the way it is. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to subscribe, hit that like button. If you have any further questions, just throw a comment below and I'll be sure to get back to you. I'll see you guys back here next week.